Everyone can be seated. Mr. Zellman, let's get started.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Is it okay if we remain seated?
That's fine. Go ahead.
Your Honor, in State of Florida versus Donna Adelson, it's 23 CF 3226. Joshua Zellman on behalf of Ms. Adelson.
And Jackie Fulford on behalf of Ms. Adelson.
Pursuant to the court's October 24th order, Your Honor indicated that you desired that both Ms. Fulford and I certify on the record that we've reviewed the names of all of the witnesses. I have reviewed the names of all the witnesses listed in discovery, as well as the names of all witnesses who have testified in all prior trials. I do not have any conflict. I've not represented or consulted with any of them.
And I would make the same representation, Your Honor, that I've reviewed everything and I have neither represented or consulted with them.
Right, that deals with the issue then of any conflict occurring by prior representation, but go ahead, Mr.
Yes, Your Honor.
Fuchs.
Just, Ms. Kaufman asked me to represent the court if we can approach and speak sidebar real quick, please.
You may approach. The issue of any prior representation, which I believe made it necessary to disqualify the previous attorneys for the defendant, that does not appear to be an issue here. The court is aware of the fact that Ms. Fulford did handle as a judicial officer the probate of Daniel Markel. However, my review of that matter as well does not reveal anything unusual or abnormal as it relates to any probate case that would be handled in the circuit. Does the state have any issue that it needs to raise concerning the conflict checks and the response to the court that has been offered?
Nothing other than what was discussed at sidebar, Your Honor.
Very well. Moving on to the issue of discovery, Mr. Zellman, Ms. Fulford, did you receive discovery without annotation from prior counsels?
Yes, Your Honor. We've received limited items from prior counsel. We had a phone conference last week with both Ms. Kappelman and Ms. Dugan. Their office is going to be providing us with hard copies, or electronic copies rather, of all of the deposition transcripts rather than trying to secure them from prior counsel, as well as all of the exhibits from the prior trials and any additional materials. They're working with us on that. Their legal assistant is out until tomorrow, so when she's back in, we'll contact her to get those materials. Other than that, the state did provide each, both Ms. Fulford and myself, with complete copies of all the materials, all the discovery.
Deadlines always seem to help move things along. Mr. Fuchs, please convey to Ms. Kappelman and Ms. Dugan all discovery that is going to be turned over as far as prior depositions, transcripts, exhibits, things of that nature. That needs to be accomplished by February 11th.
Yes, Your Honor.
As to any depositions you may need to take yourself, Mr. Zellman, have you identified any, or is this too early in the process?
We've identified a few that Ms. Fulford and I have discussed. We have not yet spoken with Ms. Kappelman or Ms. Dugan about who those individuals are. I think that once we have that conversation, it'll be obvious why we want to take those depositions, but I don't anticipate it would be many of the witnesses.
Have any of these witnesses been previously deposed by the former counsels?
Potentially one has, that would be Mr. Corbett. But aside from that, I don't think that we intend to re-depose anyone who has previously been deposed in Ms. Adelson's case.
Very well. As to when you may think you're ready to go to trial, do you have any preliminary, musings on that issue? No.
Yes, Judge, we had a phone conference with both of the prosecutors and review of your calendar, and although it's not established this way on your calendar, we were able to identify a trial period that all of us would be available, as well as the witnesses that we have. That trial period would have been June the 16th to July the 2nd. Not sure if Your Honor would be able to make that available to us, but that's when we all were available to try the case.
I would need to check my personal calendar because we all answer to someone and I answer to Mrs. Everett.
Yes, sir.
Whether or not I'm available the first week of July, I cannot tell you at the moment, but I will check.
Well,
I think the anticipation is that it would end on the Friday before that first week of July. That would really encompass the July 4th holiday, I think is what it was.
Yeah, that was just out of an abundance of caution, adding those 2 days.
Before we discuss a firm trial date, and again, any trial date we said, I want to be clear on this, is going to be firm. There's too much logistics that are involved with moving prisoners, with everyone who needs to be brought to here for making this trial actually happen. So when that trial date is set, it is going to be firm. However, you will have the time that you need to prepare.
Thank you, Judge.
Does the defense need to be heard further today?
We have 2 other issues. You want to do yours?
Yes, Your Honor. Yesterday I filed a unopposed motion to unseal proceedings on a limited basis. I provided a proposed order, but I also have a hard copy of the proposed order. May I approach?
You
This
may.
motion to eliminate.
Yes.
This is the matter handled in camera, I believe, prior to the trial that did not take place.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor. My understanding from Ms. Kappelman that she is, because it was sealed, that she is requesting that the court order it unsealed for the limited purpose of providing to the defense counsel, and then resealed, which I believe is what was contained in the proposed order that was just given, Your Honor.
Yeah, it's just being unsealed for the very limited purpose of us getting this. It's not a full unsealing of that procedure.
Right, as to that, I will go ahead and grant that motion to unseal, so that way the defense will have access to the record that was developed during the hearing on September 5th. Any other matters from the defense?
Just one, Your Honor. We want to make certain that we don't run afoul of your order with respect to the prior conflict of counsel. They had retained 1 or more investigators who did interviews of certain witnesses, and we just want to know whether we would be able to use the same investigators, or does the court prefer, and do you believe your ruling indicates that we need to go steer clear of everything they did and do our own?
Like everything in life, it depends what was discussed between the prior counsels and the investigators.
Yeah.
Your Honor, to be honest, because of your order disqualifying, we have not even spoken with the investigator or investigators that were previously retained because we did not want to create a conflict.
I can speak to the investigators in camera if you desire, but at the moment, it's probably best to consider them the fruit of the poisonous tree.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Mr. Fuchs?
No position on that, Your Honor.
No, not as to that. Does the state have anything to raise?
No, Your Honor, nothing further. Other than, again, what was discussed at that work.
Let's go ahead and set a follow-up case management then for February 11th at 2:30 in the afternoon. At that point, I believe all discovery, depositions, exhibits should be turned over prior to that date. Any depositions that the defense is seeking to take, including another deposition of Sergeant Corbett, go ahead and have those set at that point. And at that time, if it's possible, we will go ahead and set the trial date and establish all other deadlines. Discovery cutoff will be a part of any deadlines that will occur. However, you will have the benefit of what has already occurred in the case. Does either party have more to get into before we finish up?
Just the matter that we're doing off the record.
Very well. You can take Ms. Adelson back downstairs. That will conclude the case management. Let's move on to the other matters on this afternoon's docket.
Your Honor, do you want to do the in-camera today?
Yes.
Okay. So,
I know. What's that? No. Mr. Akbar, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing well. You can go ahead and call your matter.